It's remarkable the influence that the Iranian government seems to have in Iraq. Let's remind ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, that the Maliki government did not win an overwhelming victory, and he had to form a coalition government. And we all know who he turned to in order to form that coalition government, the same individual that our military and special forces had sought when he was leading the militia, Ben al-Sadr, who, of course, when he left Iraq, found peace and comfort and support in Iran. And not only to bring himself back, but he brought a disproportionate amount of Iranian influence back. Every single day when I was privileged to serve my country and the President as first the Assistant to the President of Homeland Security and then as Secretary of Homeland Security, we called it a threat matrix. And so every day, some days it was a couple pages long, sometimes it was a couple dozen pages long. And through a variety of those alphabet agencies who gather intelligence from a variety of different sources, there'll be a list of threats against the United States. Now, of course, you don't take them all seriously. Many of them were not credible, but you take a look at those threats. Some were serious, some were credible, some we acted upon, some we waited to see if something would happen, some we waited so we could get more information, and some we just discounted. But the bottom line in my time, both in the White House and as the first Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, not once, not one single time did I ever see a threat directed to the United States from any resident of or supporter of the MEK. But we, for whatever reason, continue to list them. So I've got an idea. Maliki is coming to this country on December 12th. And I really hope this tape gets to the White House. The State Department issues visas, and the Department of Homeland Security, although the visa has been issued, has the right to deny you access into this country. It's an interesting juxtaposition. One issues the visa, and the other opens the door and lets you in. Well, I've got an idea. Let's set a couple conditions before we open the door. How about delisting the MEK? Well, I appreciate that, but there's a lot more. We're going to delist. We're going to insist that they cooperate with UN High Commissioner on Refugees. We're going to insist that the initial interviews take place in Camp Ashraf. We're going to insist that the United Nations provide security for both the UN High Commissioner and his team, as well as the residents of Camp Ashraf. And we'll insist that the United States take a leading role, not only in the form of the United Nations, but with our friends around the world, to see to it that these men and women, we must think about that and recognize it as well. Those ought to be the conditions. Delist, cooperate with the UN, keep them at Camp Ashraf, support the men and women of Ashraf with blue helmets, as well as the UN High Commissioner, and take a leadership role in getting these men and women resettled in companies who will embrace them, their families, and their belief in a non-nuclear, peaceful, tolerant Iran. One final thought. You know, there's been a lot of discussion about a term used describing President Obama's leadership with regard to Libya. Some say it was effective means of advancing a broader humanitarian interest and building a coalition. Others aren't as supportive, but you know what I'm talking about. The expression was the president was able to lead from behind. I simply say this to my president, and he is my president. Mr. President, this is a time that you must lead from the front. You can ask any soldier, any Marine, one of the most difficult tasks on any mission is walking point. Because sometimes an individuals walking point take the initial hit, they take the flak, they're the ones who encounter the enemy. But right now, on this issue, Mr. President, you have to walk point. Delist MEK and provide them the protection until the rest of the world can welcome them with open arms to promote a free, independent, non-nuclear Iran. We need a regime change, and the first place to start is to delist the MEK. Walk point, Mr. President.